Ready? Okay, well, thanks everyone for being on here. We had an awesome discussion last week, learned some really cool stuff. And I think that there's some good takeaways, and we were able to implement it into the work that we were doing, and it really helped. So I hope that you've kind of seen the same thing happen in your own efforts of, hey, here's how we can tailor this to younger people a little bit better. I have found just in conversations that I've had that there's a shocking amount of people that are young that are super worried about what's going to happen as far as, how are we going to make money? How are we going to outrun inflation? How are we going to outrun debt? How are we going to do all these things? And then on top of that, we're going to have kids, we're going to have to increasing insurance, we're going to have all this stuff, and life is just going to get more and more and more expensive. And at the same time, we're just going to get more and more and more busy. And so there's this needle, kind of this balancing point between making an income and having a good lifestyle. And what we found is that so many people are afraid and scared because they don't see a way out of being able to increase their income while still maintaining a good lifestyle. Because the traditional way to make money, the time for dollar equation, I'll break that down in a second, is just that in order to make more money to outrun inflation, get this insurance and that insurance and whatnot and all this stuff and food and raising kids and diapers and et cetera, we got to work more hours. So what do we do? Because we can't do that. We don't have any more hours in the day, or we want to make these memories. We want to take these trips, but we can't. So a lot of people, no matter how old they are worried about that. And with an older demographic, I think that historically, the sweet spot for network marketing has been in that 35 to 60 age range because they have enough life experience to understand this, that unless you put something together on the side and just kind of put some effort in, let it roast and work hard at it, it's pretty much a one-way street. It's a dead end battle. So what we want to do today is let's talk about that, and let's just break down what are young people feeling and how can we kind of tailor what we have, our business and our experience, our opportunity to them, and how can we talk about it with them in a way that really helps them to see it. And I found that a lot of times, let's say for example, I'll write this down. You've got, that's a really wobbly whiteboard. And you've got 10 people that you share this business with. And of those 10 people that you're able to sit down and go through a registration process with, on average, you're going to get 1 to 2, maybe 3. But what we found is that of those 10, that's not how many people were interested. It was probably more like 6 or 7 that were interested. What does that mean? That means we're doing the work, but it's the way that we're talking about it, the way that we're presenting it, that maybe needs to be shifted up a little bit, maybe changed in a few ways here and there. And that's not a bad thing. There's learning curve for everything. But we want to get this business, we want to get actives to a younger demographic, because I honestly believe that if we're willing to take our younger years and use that time to set ourselves up for success in our later years, then we're going to live a really good life. Now, what I kind of want to talk about is a discussion that me and Brittany have been having pretty much all week this week, and that's about 2 things, which is sacrifice and the law of the harvest, which just says that whatever you put in, that's what you give out. So let me write that out. So you have the law of the harvest. What that is that if you take a look at farming, whatever you plant, that's what you're going to reap. That's what you're going to be able to pick up and sell and consume. That's your livelihood right there. And in order to have a good livelihood, you need to Well, you got to plant. You got to do as much planting as you can. And it's just a very simple equation. There's no room for excuses. The other thing is the law of sacrifice. So these two things go hand in hand. Why? Because in order to plant enough to be able to reap enough to have a good life, you got to give up some stuff. Okay. Do you think that farmers want to wake up at 4 a.m? No. Do you think they want to spend all that time moving pipe? No. Right? Do you think that they want to spend all that money on tractors and equipment? No. If they didn't have to do it, they wouldn't do it, but they have to do it. So they let the law of the sacrifice lead into the law of the harvest, because the two and two go hand in hand. And what we're seeing is that young people, they want to sacrifice. They want to plant the seeds. They just don't know how. So we're actually seeing in market trends, you can go and study Forbes, you can go study different business media outlets and whatnot, and you'll see a growing increase in just this trend of young people setting themselves up investment-wise, whether it's stock market portfolios, real estate, side businesses, starting up traditional businesses, whatever. It's that sacrifice that they want to pursue. Why do you think that Uber got so big so quickly, right? Why do you think that DoorDash got so big so quickly, Airbnb? Because you have something that people are able to sacrifice a little bit of their time for a good return that improves the quality of their life. And it's just human nature, right? Why do you think that farming has always been the #1 staple for an economy? It's the very first thing that's established. I think that part of it is because of what it is, because you need the food. But I think a lot of it also fundamentally is because an economy and an organization, a city, a family, whatever, a team has to be built on these principles first and let the rest fall into place, if that makes sense. So we've got people that want to sacrifice, but they don't know how. And in record numbers, people want to sacrifice, they want to know how. And that's our job, is to teach them how, right? I think that my whiteboard is sinking a little bit every time I erase. I apologize about that. I'll have to bring it up a few times. But what I love to draw out for people is what I call a cash flow quadrant. I know I drew this out a few times ago. This is something that it just makes sense intuitively for me and for Brittany and for the people on this call. This just makes sense. But for people out there that have never really thought about this and maybe have wondered, how can I escape the rat race, so to speak, they might not have thought about this. So this is a concept coined by Robert Kiyosaki, famous business author, real estate mogul, built a lot of successful businesses. And fun fact, he actually has a book called The Business of the 21st Century. If you've got 2 hours, it's about 100 pages, read it. It's maybe $10 on Amazon. It's one of the best books to ever read. If you want some validation from some billionaires about whether or not network marketing is legit. But anyway, so what he breaks down is you've got 4 different ways to make an income. So employed, self-employed, big business, and investment. And yeah, there's 4 different quadrants, but really we can split it down the middle. This side, it's time equals money. And this side, it's assets equal money, or money equals money. So you have something in place that works on its own, grows on its own, and that sets you free. What we call over here is a captivating income, because just like all these people that are wondering and concerned, how do I make it? How do we fend off all these things and provide enough while still having a lifestyle? The reason they're feeling that is because they have a captivating income. If they don't get to work, they don't get paid. If they don't show up for a full 8 hours, they don't get paid. Over here, if you've got a system that makes money for you, stay in bed all day. Delete all of the alarms on your phone, right? Go live in Tahiti for a week. It doesn't matter. You're still going to make money because you've got a system in place that liberates you. And the coolest thing as well, and I love this, is that if you have an income where time equals money, it means that every hour or every minute, maybe every day, there's a limit to what you can make, which means that if you want to make more money, it's a very linear path and it's very set, very limited. Like, let's say you're making this much, but you need to make more money. Well, you've only got so much time or so much resources. So you can give yourself a raise by working more, but it can only go up so high. Over here, it's a little bit different because let's say, okay, here's a chart. If you're making this much money and you want to get a raise, well, let's just triple that, right? No big deal. We know how to do it. And it's just like an old buddy of mine said, the good news is that it's all up to you. Bad news is that it's all up to you. So we have this thing that people are worried about constantly, which is making enough money. But on the flip side, you've got this thing that people also worry about constantly, which is having a good lifestyle. And people are starting to figure out that if I'm trading my time for money, if I have a captivating income, my lifestyle is capped out no matter how much I work. I was just talking with Nick about this earlier today. If you've got $1 million that you're making every year, but you're working 80 hours a week, it doesn't matter how much money you make, right? You could be making 15 bucks an hour or 5,000 bucks an hour. It doesn't matter because you can't enjoy it. You don't have a lifestyle. And that's a pretty controversial statement to make. And I wish it wasn't, but you look at Instagram, you look at Facebook, look at TikTok, and what gets propped up is possessions and money. But that's not lifestyle. That's not really living. So with network marketing, my favorite way to explain it is it's just word of mouth. So you've got a project. So product / actives. And you, as an individual, say, hey, those are some really cool products. I want to take that. I want to use that. So what's going to happen is you're going to take your money, buy it from actives, and get a product back, right? Super simple. That's how the economy works. Now, what's really cool, why this works so well, why this is the coolest thing ever, the best way, in my opinion, to build an asset is if you've got a product that's good enough, something that's worth sharing, you're naturally going to share it. So now you've got 4 people that are using this product from actives or from wherever. It doesn't have to be actives. We can use this example for any company, whether it's actives or whether it's Yamaha pianos or whether it's I don't know, Pepsi. No matter what it is, this is what happens. So now this person right here, this person right here, this person right here, this person right here, they're using these products, right? There's an exchange happening. Same thing that happened here with you sharing with them, that's going to happen. They're going to love them and then share them with their friends. And now you've got 16, and then it just duplicates 64, 256, and so on and so on. So if all you're willing to do is try out a product and consume something that's has a really great benefit that people want, that you want, and then share it with others, then it works. And so a lot of people get a bad rap towards network marketing, multi-level marketing, because I think it's because of something called drive-by sponsoring a lot of the times, and young people maybe have a bad understanding of it because their parents get involved with the company and maybe the product isn't very good. So they have to default on the duplication, which means it's just all about the numbers, all about plugging people in, and people get left out, they get left behind. It's just not a good situation. And most of the time, people are successful, but it's very difficult. So if you have a really good product, this works really, really well. And if you have a really good compensation plan that's very profitable, very lucrative. It works really, really well. If you've got a good team behind you, a good corporate staff that is ethical, they are moral, they stand on their word, it's privately held, they're out of debt. That's a really good thing. That's a really good sign. It's going to work really, really well. And there's all these ticker points that you can look at, right? So to explain what's going on with actives, you've got a brand new network marketing company just starting out. The way that they're set up, and if you have questions about this, talk to your upline, talk to the person that brought you here and ask them, hey, how can I know for myself that this is a safe investment? How can I know for myself that actives is going to be around for the rest of my life and for the rest of my kids' lives? How can I know that for sure? Because it is. I know that because we can identify the ticker points. We can vet a company well enough to know what's going to stick around and what's not. Actives is one of the few companies I've ever seen that we can point at and say, okay, they're going to be around for life, right? For multiple lifetimes. What you have is what we would call an S-curve. Now, typically a network marketing company that you hear about is going to be about right there over the S-curve, right? So people look at that and they go, there's no way I can make money. And yeah, you can, but it's going to be a lot more difficult than if it was right here. We've tried it being there. It did not work. We've done it here and it's worked really well with actives. But that's kind of besides the point. So you're really going to see it there, which is going to be about 99% of the time. And you're going to see a company here to here about 1% of the time, right? Now, here's the thing. Of that 1%, you've got about, I'd say about a 95% chance statistically that they're going to fail, and a 5% chance that they're going to succeed and be around forever. Now, we want people to see this. We want young people to see this and hop on board and change their lives and help change other people's lives. So why the heck am I showing you that there's only a 0.5% chance that this is going to work? Well, why is there a 95% chance of failure? Let's break that down. There's 5 reasons why companies don't work in network marketing. They don't have a good enough product, which means that maybe it's not life-changing, it's not disruptive. Maybe there's lots of competition. Different companies that have the same product as copy paste. Maybe you're competing with brands like Walmart, or maybe you're competing with brands like Red Bull or Lysol, right? Fun fact, there is a company in Springville, Utah, and I don't know if I can legally say their name, but they supply the products to, I think, 80 something different MLMs. And you can go on their website and look at the products and then go to the companies and the sites of these different network marketing companies. And it's literally just the same companies with the same products, but relabeled. And you wonder why they don't work, right? Because they're not disruptive. They're not changing anything. You need a product that is consumable, that people, they take once and they don't stop taking it. What we have, it's just like that. It's like candy for people. It's genetic candy. That's what I like to call it. And so people, it's like toothpaste. You use it once, you use up, so you run out, you got to buy it again. That process repeats until you die. Hate to say it, but that's just what happens. If your company is built off of one-time purchases, then you're always going to be in the pursuit of finding new people, finding new customers, and it never really turns into an asset. And if it does turn into an asset, it's going to take 10 to 20 times the organization that it is if it was a duplicatable, self-growing, month by month purchase and purchase again. Consumables is what I'm trying to get to there. So that active checks off, right? Products are good. And we've also got really big market cap, no competition, which is awesome. We're not looking for copy paste stuff. We're looking for products that people have been looking for their whole lives and have nowhere else to turn but actives. We position ourselves in front of thousands of people, millions of people, be those people, then we're going to be very successful and change a lot of lives. Timing. This is what's really cool. So many young people, they have parents, they have friends, they have relatives, aunts, uncles that have done network marketing and it hasn't worked because A, they had a company that was here, or they had one that was here, but it didn't have all the right points in place. So they look at something like this and they say, oh yeah, the timing is phenomenal. We're just getting started. But I hate to break it to you, Grant, or I hate to break it to you, but there's companies like this that pop around all the time and they go away. Well, yeah, why? Because they don't have all the tick marks in place. And they're not, for one thing, what I'm trying to get to here is they're not out of debt, right? It's not a safe investment. With actives, what's so rare is that we have Mexico right here. They're already doing about 20 million a year, if not a little bit more. Actually, I guarantee they're doing a little bit more, might be close to 25. I don't know. But actives is out of the black, right? They're in the red, which means they're going to stick around. Unless a meteor hits Earth, they're not going away. Nobody's saying change the product. Nobody's saying change the comp plan. It's going to stay what it is for the rest of our lifetimes. That's the coolest thing ever. So when you look at all these tick marks in place, products, timing, the corporate, the system to grow, which we'll get into that in a minute, the compensation plan is really good. You put all those things. So what we have here, because you have all of these 5 things, and on top of that, you have the fact that Mexico is already performing here, getting close to momentum on the S curve, which means that we're at a financial trouble area. There's no turning back. This is going to be around forever. It's not a question of get involved and it works. So normally, well, let me kind of take that back. It's get involved, and then company works, and then success. That's the path that you would normally take to be successful in network marketing when you get on a company early on. What's so cool here is because of this, and because of this, we're just going to erase this right here. That's an extra layer that we don't have to roll the dice on. We don't have to roll dice on actives. We just have to roll dice on ourselves. And I don't even think that saying rolling the dice on ourselves is fair, because there's no luck involved here. It's all work habit. What you put in is what you get. So this is what we have. We have something amazing, something incredible. And I don't plan on going too in depth on products here. I think everyone on here knows what we have going on product base wise. So epigenetic based product lines, groundbreaking. Basically your body wants to heal itself. Your body wants to take care of itself. We just have to instruct it to do so. And that's what we're doing. So if that doesn't make any sense, somebody speak up. Otherwise, I'm going to keep going here. But I want to talk about how can we really open up this discussion and help young people get this. This whiteboard is driving me crazy. Okay, so let's say you are 45 years old. So here's you. You're 45. You're talking to this dude. He was 25. Okay, he's got a wife and got 4 kids, right? Talking to a young family that's 25 years old. How? Right? How are you going to prove to them, or at least make them wonder and want to look at it, if what you have is legit? What we've ran into so many times is that people that are this old in that age range, The sweet spot, is 35 to 60, but below that, people are excited about their careers. They're excited about their new house. They're excited about where things are going. They're not really looking for anything else, but what they are looking for is more options. What they are looking for is something that they can do for just a few hours a week that helps improve their financial situation. And I know it sounds cheesy because you hop on Instagram, you hop on Facebook or whatever, social media, and there's tons of advertisements about, oh, help people make this much money and, business coaching here and side hustle there. But what we have here is unique because we're not rolling the dice on anything. And we just want to help people tap into what I like to call hidden human nature. So we all have a part of our human nature that wants to work. We all have also a part of our human nature that wants to sit around and do nothing. I myself am ambitiously lazy. That's how I would categorize myself, which means that I don't want to spend my whole life working and wasting away my time. However, I want to earn that. And I want to work as hard as I can, as hard as I have to in order to get that, because that's what makes it rewarding. And people are like that. People want to work, but they want to work for something and work on something that just makes sense, right? So with these people, you're not showing them a career change. Okay. What we're showing them is an extra 2 to 5 hours a week, which everybody has, no matter how busy you are, which leads to more options. I hope you don't mind reading sideways there. So let's say you've got this family, he loves his job, right? He's a software developer. That's fun. He doesn't want to leave, loves his coworkers. It would break his heart to walk away from that job. Great, right? But what about security? What about longevity? People want options. And I think when we present it in a way that, hey, I know that you have your career. I know that you love that. And this is what I like to say, just tell them that you got your career, you love it. I don't expect you to drop that. But what we have is something that, because of the timing, 2 to 5 hours a week can build an asset for you that if you want to retire at 45, retire at 45. If you want to retire at 35, retire at 35. If you're 16 years old, retire at 17. It's just that simple. It's just build this life that you want. And I think it's silly to base your whole life off of an emotion. One of my favorite articles is from a famous journalist named Caroline Beaton. It's called Passion versus Purpose, and just the difference between the two. And what she talks about is there's kind of this agenda, which is to pick your career off of emotion. And really, I shouldn't say emotion, I should say passion for context. So what we're kind of taught to do is find what you're passionate about and build a life, build a career off of that. If your passion is woodworking, that's where you're supposed to be. If your passion is working on cars, then you're supposed to be a mechanic. But the thing is that passion is an emotion, and emotions change, right? When I was in my teenage years, I was super into cycling, and I was dead set in a career into pro cycling. But as soon as I got married, as soon as I kind of moved forward in life, I realized that's not actually my passion. My passion is making sure that me and my family live a really good life. And if cycling is included with that, great. If not, great. I just want my family to be happy. So passion, actually, I'm gonna erase this. Oops. Passion is selfish. Purpose is selfless, okay? The biggest fallacy that we're taught is that passion and purpose are the same, when in reality, they're completely the opposite, right? If you want to live a really good life, don't make your passion your purpose. Make your purpose your passion. That's what leads to a really good life. And I guarantee you that if you say, what am I passionate about? I'm going to make that my purpose. You're going to get to the end of your rope a little bit burnt out and a little bit frustrated and wondering maybe a little bit, why did I do all this? What was the fruit of this? You know, I spent my whole life building websites, right? I spent my whole life playing soccer. I spent my whole life doing this one thing. Maybe it's woodworking, leatherworking that I'm super passionate about. And I made that my purpose. But what if there was something I could have been doing all along that tapped into a bigger picture, something greater than myself? So if we reverse the cards and say, what's my purpose? Okay, what brings value to my life? For me, the thing that brings the most value to my life, and for me and Brittany's life, is spending our time helping people and making sure that we can live a good life with our kids. You know, we're expecting a baby boy in January, and our goal is to be there for him 24/7, right? I remember when we were first looking into network marketing, I was all for it. Brittany was not at all for it. And we had a conversation one time, and we really just looked at it. We went to listen to some people. We listened to some audio stuff, read some books about it. And what we did was we decided, okay, let's talk to some people that have been successful in it. That's what we did. And they explained their lifestyle to us just because they worked, and they decided that they were going to take their purpose and make it their passion. And the result is that they could be home with their kids. Their kids were their alarm clock, right? Whenever their kids wanted to eat lunch, that's when lunch was. It wasn't 30 minutes at 11:30 when your employer says. If your kids want to eat at 2, lunch is at 2. If your kids want to eat at 10, lunch is at 10, right? And if you want to go to bed at 2 a.m., go to bed at 2 a.m., right? You want to go swimming for 8 hours, go swimming for 8 hours. You want to go to sleep on Monday, wake up Tuesday and decide, let's fly to New Zealand this afternoon, go, right? That's the lifestyle that our friends were living. And we were driving through Salt Lake back to Brittany's house to have dinner. And we had stopped and parked in this Maverick to go and fill up with gas. And she turns to me with, watery eyes, tearing up a little bit, and said, I've decided that I may not know everything about this industry. I don't know how to do it. It scares me. I know what people think. It's not very flashy. It's not the cool thing to do. But I can't stand the thought of you coming home from work and me saying, our son took his first steps today and you missed it. And that right there is why we're doing this. How many families do you think there are in this situation? They got 1 or 2 kids. And while that first son took his first steps, their dad is out building somebody else's business, out working. I guarantee you that broke his heart. So what if we can come in and say, hey, 2 to 5 hours a week to give you more options. The next time you have a kid, if you want to be there for me, it takes his first step, be there for it, right? If your kids are studying Rome in school, go take them to Rome for 2 weeks or a month, whatever. Have those options. Don't change careers. You don't have to if you don't want to, but I want to help you have more options. And that's kind of a long-winded discussion, but people need to hear this. People deserve to understand that formula, that it's purpose first and then passion follows. It's not the other way around. And I've always liked to say that in order to understand this, in order to really understand how to make good money and liberating money, if you want to have both, take what you learned about making money in school and unlearn it, and then take what everyone else does and do the exact opposite. If people say to do this, don't do it. If they say not to do it, okay? Every single person I know that's been successful in network marketing, they had at least a dozen people that they thought were in their corner that said, you're crazy, don't do it. This right here is our passion. And yeah, to be honest with you, I came into this meeting with no agenda. I didn't know if we were going to be talking about how to talk to people, what those conversations look like, or if we're just going to talk about why. And here we are talking about why, because that's kind of where the conversation led us, but I don't think that's by accident. I think that sometimes a little bit of a flame needs to be stoked under us to say, hey, let's go find these people. If you're standing at a gas station next to a guy driving a Suburban to work, ask him how he's doing, right? See if he needs anything. Go make some new friends. We have a mantra, or at least I do, one new friend every day. Make one new friend every day. And if you're willing to do that, you can be successful. So I believe that if we take care of God's children, he takes care of us. We help him be healthy, he makes us healthy. We help him be financially stable, he'll help us do the same thing. To close out here, I've kind of been spending all day today with my buddy Nick, 16 years old, looking at this business. His parents are killing it. To bring him up to kind of say why he likes this business, and keep in mind he's only 16 years old, and that's the youngest age you have to be. And so it might be a cool perspective. So we'll bring Nick up and kind of close out from there.
Okay. So like Grant says, I'm 16. I'm in high school right now. And so being in high school, I'm a junior. And so I still have a year left in high school after this year where I can kind of think more about what's going to happen. But with a lot of kids my age, what really kind of seems to worry, all of us about is what we're going to do, how we're going to do when we get out of school, where we're going to go. And especially looking at, all the student loans and debts and, car payments and mortgages and all this type of stuff, it scares a lot of students. I have a lot of senior friends, and they're scared. I mean, thinking about college and all they want to do is just stay in high school, but that's not going to happen. You're going to have to go out, you're going to have to get a life and make money and make a living. And so looking into this business, what kind of interests me most is just being able to get to financially freedom, being able to be free and being able to kind of decide what you want to do when you want to do it without having to work these 80-hour weeks and having to be tied up in these jobs that just control your life. A lot of kids my age and people who are just getting out of school, they want a life that, they're going to be happy about and that they're going to be able to spend time with their family. And, like Grant said, how, there's fathers out there that never get to see their kids, first steps, right? And that's just not something that people want. And so looking into this business and seeing, what it can do if you put in the work, it's quite remarkable. And so for people my age, and especially for me, being able to get to a point of financially being, free and being able to kind of do whatever you want and kind of work up to being able to, retire when you want, and being able to work as much or as, little as you want, it really kind of captivates a lot of people my age. And so I think that's kind of what interests us the most with, these new job opportunities. And like how Grant said, how we're willing to, put in the work and willing to sacrifice a lot of our time and such to be able to build up and kind of get to the lifestyle that we're kind of looking for, that all of us dream about. So I think that's kind of what interests me most with with actives and with this type of a business. So
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, bud.
Mm-hmm.
I have kind of a self-imposed mantra for Nick. It's done by 21. 21 years old, we're done. No more working. We got our ducks in a row. But what I was thinking about there is we've got a way, just a little bit of training real quick. We've got a way to bring this to people and impact lives. That's all that we want to do. The thought that we can do that for people, that's the whole goal here. That lights me up inside. I know that lights all of you up inside as well. And so it's really easy to make it about us and say something like, I have this situation and it brings this liberty, right? So it's easy to kind of flex on people and say, oh, well, I've got this going on so that I can be there when my kids take their first steps, or I can be there for my kids' soccer games. I can go to all the track meets. I can do all this cool stuff. And we kind of expect people to go, wow, and have googly eyes and go, I want that too. Can I do what you're doing? And I'll just be honest with you right now, it's really easy to do that, but that is a horrible way to build a business, especially a business like this. So let's rephrase that question. We're saying the same thing, but what we're saying is, you're acknowledging, it sounds like you have a concern with this. It sounds like you have a concern with rising rent. It sounds like you have a concern paying for your kids' college, paying for your auto loans, stuff like that. Paying for, I know that insurance is a big one that took us by surprise. You know, it's $500 a month for all insurances combined. Like, when did that happen? Let's say, I know you're stressed about this, and just say, I've got X opportunity. Let's run this out real quick. I wrote all that out so that you could maybe screenshot or copy it down if you want to. But what I like to say is just, you said you have this concern. Well, I've got X opportunity, you know, this business or this project. It might help you tackle that if you're a hard worker. Can I show it to you? And that right there makes it about them. That makes it about you wanting to help them get this done and take care of those concerns, right? It takes you back to that first thing that we established, which is for every 10, I'm sorry if I erased that too early for some of you. For every 10 you have is going to equal 2 to 3 that are really interested. And that is not true. It's 2 to 3 because you made it about you. And if they were interested, they told you, right? So let's make it a service. And let's have 10. And let's turn into 6 and 7. Right? 60 to 70% of people that we talk to saying yes. If all we're willing to do is make it about them, make it a service, say, I want to serve you with this, and this is how I want to do it. Can I show this to you? I know what you're feeling. Validate them. I know how that feels. I went through the exact same thing. This actually helped me a lot. I would love to go grab a coffee with you and show it to you sometime. I would love to go grab dinner. I'd love to go grab breakfast. Coming over, my wife's making bread. Okay, we did this in our house, getting ready for our baby. And so we sold a mattress in a box spring over the weekend. Met this guy, he bought the mattress off of us. We just chatted and he expressed this concern. Like, I'm working in concrete, you know, I moved here from Peru a few years ago, been working in concrete and my back hurts and I just don't know if I can do it forever and I don't have that much money. And I said, dude, I know how that feels. I have been there before. I was there 6 months ago. It sucks. And he was like, yeah, it's the worst. Like, well, what did you do? So I told him, well, I did this. It was completely transparent. I got involved with a company called Actives. It's taken off really well. And honestly, this is not why I'm talking to you in the first place. I'm here to sell you a mattress. But you brought it up, that concern. And if you're serious about fixing that, I want to show this to you. So coming over tomorrow morning, my wife's making bread. Come have some bread with us. Eat some breakfast with us before church. So he came over. Lo and behold, guess who's signing up? This guy from Peru. It's really that simple. Is if we make this a service, those numbers are going to be more. We have people that want this. So it's easy to look at who's going to be interested in this, who is going to want to do it, who do we think likes business and all this stuff. And that's not a good thing to say. what we want to say is, out of these 10 people, how many of them are scared about the future, like Nick described so many of his friends are? How many of them want something more? How many of them are actually secretly stressed out? I guarantee you it's at least 8. And of those 8, what are the odds? How many of them do you think are going to be so openly opposed to network marketing, no matter what it is, that they're going to shut this down? 2, maybe 1. So what does that leave us? 6 or 7. Okay, that's the sweet spot. I know that that's feasible, and we can accomplish that among the demographic of younger people if all we do is make it a service and say, look, I want to help you out. So I hope this helps. I hope this into that are in that age range, but yeah, how do we do it? So I love doing these meetings. It's one of my favorite parts of my week. So let's go out and let's kill it. Thanks, everyone.